What if the most powerful arrivals in Monaco weren't couples, entourages, or red carpet celebrities, but single women stepping out of multi-million-dollar supercars completely on their own? In a city famous for luxury, these moments quietly steal the spotlight. No noise, no rush, just confidence, precision, and total control. Monaco has always attracted wealth, but something new is happening. More and more independent women are arriving solo, choosing privacy over attention and freedom over expectations. Their supercars aren't statements for the crowd, they're personal choices, moving through a city that understands discretion better than anywhere else in the world. And when they arrive, everything seems to slow down. Valets pause, conversations fade, the energy shifts. This isn't about showing off. It's about arrival as power, the kind that doesn't need permission or applause. Behind every calm step onto Monaco's streets is a story of independence, success, and decisions made on their own terms. Before we go deeper, take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us bring you more stories from inside the world of elite luxury and quiet influence. Because coming up next, we'll explore why Monaco has become the ultimate destination for these single supercar women, and what their arrivals reveal that most people never notice. Why do so many single women with extraordinary resources choose Monaco and not Paris, Dubai, or Beverly Hills as the place to arrive alone in supercars? The answer isn't just luxury, it's control. Monaco is one of the rare places on Earth where wealth doesn't scream for attention. Here, privacy is not a feature, it's a rule. For independent women who value discretion, this matters more than beachfront mansions or rooftop parties. In Monaco, no one asks why you're alone. No one questions your choices. Arrival is quiet, smooth, and respected. This is exactly why single women with power feel comfortable here. They're not trying to impress anyone. They're not following trends. They're choosing an environment that mirrors how they live, efficient, selective, and intentional. Driving a supercar through Monaco isn't about spectacle. It's about movement without interruption. The roads are designed for precision. The city understands rhythm. Nothing feels chaotic. There's also something deeper. Monaco doesn't assign roles. It doesn't label women as partners, companions, or accessories. You arrive as an individual, nothing more, nothing less. That neutrality creates freedom. For many single women, Monaco becomes a place where they can exist without performance, without explanation. You'll notice it in the details. The way they park without hesitation, the calm pace as they step out of the car, no rushing, no scanning the crowd. They already belong. The city doesn't need to welcome them. They've chosen it, and that choice is respected. And while outsiders may see Monaco as a playground for couples and elites, there's a quieter reality unfolding every day. Single women arriving alone are not exceptions here. They're becoming part of the rhythm. They blend into a city that values independence as much as wealth. But this raises an interesting question. If Monaco attracts them for privacy and freedom, why do their arrivals still command so much attention when they happen? Because in the next part, we'll uncover how these women use supercar arrivals not to show off, but to say something far more powerful without ever speaking a word. At first glance, it's easy to assume that arriving in a supercar is about attention. But in Monaco, that assumption quickly falls apart, especially when it comes to single women. Here, a supercar is not a trophy. It's a tool of independence. These women don't arrive with cameras waiting or crowds gathering. Most of the time, there's no announcement at all. The engine hums, the car stops, the door opens, and that's it. No performance, no validation required. The supercar isn't asking to be noticed. It's simply doing its job. And so is the woman behind the wheel. For many of them, choosing a supercar is about control and precision. They value engineering, responsiveness, and the ability to move through Monaco on their own schedule. Driving themselves matters. It reinforces a simple truth. They decide where to go, when to arrive, and how long to stay. Nothing is outsourced. What makes this powerful is the contrast. In other luxury destinations, supercars often come with noise, revving engines, crowds filming, social media moments. In Monaco, it's the opposite. The quieter the arrival, the stronger the message. It signals confidence without explanation. You'll notice how natural it looks. No hesitation when pulling up. No looking around to check reactions. The car is parked, the door closes, and life continues. That calm familiarity tells you everything. This isn't a special occasion, it's routine. And that's where curiosity starts to build. Because when something extraordinary feels ordinary, it usually means there's a deeper story behind it. These women aren't using supercars to stand out. They're using them because they fit seamlessly into a lifestyle built on independence, discretion, and personal choice. Yet, despite this effortlessness, people still notice. Conversations pause, glances linger, not because the arrival is loud, but because it's so controlled, so intentional, so self-contained. And that leads to the next layer of the story. Because if these arrivals aren't meant to impress, why do they still shift the atmosphere every time they happen? That subtle reaction is exactly what we'll explore next. Have you ever noticed how a single arrival can alter the mood of an entire street without anyone saying a word? In Monaco, this happens more often than people realize. A supercar pulls in, a single woman steps out, and suddenly the pace around her shifts. Nothing dramatic happens on the surface. There's no crowd forming, no phones raised, no obvious reaction. Yet conversations soften, movements slow. Even the city's constant rhythm seems to pause for just a moment. That pause is where the power lives. It's not about spectacle, it's about presence. These women don't demand attention, and that's precisely why they receive it. Their arrivals feel controlled, almost rehearsed by the city itself. The valet waits. Pedestrians adjust their steps. Everything aligns without instruction. What makes this moment so compelling is its subtlety. In most places, attention is earned through volume, noise, speed, exaggeration. In Monaco, attention follows restraint. The quieter the arrival, the more noticeable it becomes. People sense that something intentional just occurred, even if they can't explain why. You'll often see the same pattern repeat. The car stops perfectly aligned, the engine fades without flourish. The door opens calmly. No rush, no hesitation. It feels less like an entrance and more like a continuation of something already in motion. As if the woman arriving was always meant to be there. This reaction isn't accidental. Monaco is built on observation. Residents and regulars are used to wealth, used to exclusivity. For something to register here, it has to carry a different energy. Single women arriving alone in supercars bring exactly that, an unspoken authority that doesn't try to compete. And that's why people notice, even when they pretend not to. The attention isn't obvious, but it's undeniable. It lingers in the silence that follows the arrival. Because once you understand this shift in atmosphere, a new question emerges. If presence alone can move a city like this, what kind of lives are these women living beyond the moment they step out of the car? At a distance, these women appear completely independent, arriving alone, moving alone, leaving alone. But in Monaco, being single does not mean being isolated. In fact, it often means the opposite. Behind the calm arrivals and quiet confidence exists an invisible network. Not loud social scenes or public gatherings, but carefully chosen inner circles that operate out of sight. Private cafes at off hours, discreet yacht decks, residences where names are never announced. This is where connections form, not through introductions but through mutual understanding. Monaco doesn't reward openness. It rewards trust. And these single women navigate that environment with precision. They don't build large circles, they build reliable ones. Every relationship has a purpose. Every interaction is intentional. Nothing is accidental. You can see it in how they move after arriving. There's no confusion, no searching. A brief nod to someone who already knows they're coming. A door that opens without explanation. Plans that don't need confirmation. These moments reveal something important. Independence here is supported by structure, not chaos. What outsiders often misunderstand is the balance. These women choose to be single, but they're never disconnected. Monaco allows them to maintain autonomy while staying deeply embedded in a powerful social fabric. It's a rare combination and one that few cities can sustain. This is why their arrivals feel so composed. They're stepping into an environment that already recognizes them. There's no need to announce status or intent. Everything is already understood. And once you realize this, the image of a woman arriving alone in a supercar changes entirely. It's not solitude, it's selectivity. She's not without connections, she's simply chosen which ones matter. But this raises a deeper curiosity. If these women move within such quiet, influential circles, how do they control the image the public sees, and the one they never reveal? If you look closely, the most striking thing about these arrivals isn't the supercar, it's the absence of excess. In a city where luxury can easily become loud, single women in Monaco choose something far more powerful: restraint. Their arrival style is never accidental. Clothing is clean, structured, and intentional. Colors are often muted. Accessories are minimal, but unmistakably refined. Nothing competes for attention because nothing needs to. The goal isn't to be noticed first, it's to be remembered. This kind of control sends a clear signal. These women understand that in Monaco, true influence doesn't announce itself, it's recognized. And arrival style becomes a quiet language spoken only to those who know how to read it. You'll notice how the pieces work together. The car, the posture, the pace of movement, everything feels aligned. There's no rush to exit, no pause to adjust. The moment unfolds naturally, as if it's already been rehearsed. That calm precision is what separates intention from performance. What's especially telling is what's missing. No exaggerated gestures, no constant phone checking, no scanning the surroundings for reactions. These women aren't measuring their impact. They already know it exists. Their confidence isn't reactive, it's internal. In Monaco, this approach stands out more than any bold display ever could. Because when everyone is surrounded by wealth, simplicity becomes a statement. A controlled arrival says, "I'm here for my own reasons." And that message travels fast, even without words. People sense it immediately. The arrival doesn't dominate the space, it organizes it. Everything around seems to fall into place. But beneath this perfectly controlled exterior lies an even more interesting truth. Style here isn't just about appearance, it's about boundaries. What is shown, what is hidden, and what is never shared. And that leads to the next question. Why do these women choose independence so deliberately, even when they could easily live any lifestyle they want? That choice reveals more than fashion ever could. When you have access to almost everything, the most meaningful choice becomes what you don't take. For many of the single women arriving in supercars in Monaco, independence isn't a phase, it's a decision made with clarity. In a city where partnerships, power couples, and elite social pairings are common, choosing to remain single stands out quietly. Not as defiance, but as preference. These women aren't avoiding connection, they're protecting autonomy. Their time, focus, and direction are too valuable to compromise. Monaco makes this choice easier. The city doesn't push expectations. It doesn't question personal structure. You can arrive alone, dine alone, live alone, and no one interprets it as absence. Independence here is normalized, even respected. Many of these women operate in environments where decision-making is constant. Business, investments, creative control, or leadership roles require clarity. Remaining single allows them to move without negotiation, to change direction without explanation, and to act without delay. That freedom is worth more than any social approval. What's interesting is how comfortable they are with this choice. There's no need to justify it, no subtle signaling. They don't frame independence as empowerment, it's simply how they function. That quiet certainty is what makes their presence so steady. And because they aren't seeking completion through others, their arrivals feel complete on their own. No one is missing from the frame. No narrative needs filling. The story arrives fully formed. This perspective shifts how we interpret their supercar entrances. They're not symbols of escape or indulgence, they're extensions of a lifestyle built around self-direction. The car moves when they move, it stops when they decide. Everything responds to their timing. But here's where curiosity deepens. If independence is this intentional, how does Monaco itself respond to women who live by their own rules? The answer lies not in attention, but in how the city protects their privacy and choices, which we'll uncover next. One of the reasons these independent women can live so freely in Monaco is simple. The city knows how to look away. Privacy here isn't just respected, it's built into the culture. And for women who choose independence, that protection is invaluable. In Monaco, no one asks personal questions. Arriving alone doesn't invite speculation. Leaving alone doesn't raise eyebrows. The city operates on an unspoken agreement. What happens here stays here, and what doesn't need to be known never becomes public. This environment allows single women to move without pressure. They can arrive in supercars without becoming stories. They can disappear into private spaces without explanation. Monaco understands that visibility is not always desirable, and it offers something rare: controlled anonymity. Even the infrastructure supports this. Private entrances, discreet parking, quiet access points. Everything is designed to minimize exposure. Staff are trained not to observe, not to comment, not to remember details that don't concern them. This creates a sense of security that few places can match. What makes this especially powerful is how neutral it feels. There's no special treatment, no obvious shielding. Privacy is simply part of the system. Single women don't need protection. They're given space. That difference matters. And because the city doesn't interfere, these women can maintain full ownership of their choices. Their independence isn't challenged or reshaped by public opinion. It's preserved. This is why Monaco continues to attract women who value autonomy. It allows them to live fully without being defined by relationships, roles, or expectations. The city doesn't require explanation, and that freedom becomes part of its appeal. But there's one final layer to this story. As more single women arrive in supercars, moving with confidence and privacy, they're not just fitting into Monaco, they're subtly changing its image. Something subtle is happening in Monaco, and it's easy to miss if you're not paying attention. The increasing presence of single women arriving alone in supercars isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's quietly reshaping how luxury itself is defined in this city. For decades, Monaco's image was built around couples, dynasties, and inherited wealth. Power was often presented in pairs or families. But now, a different figure is becoming familiar. A single woman, self-directed, moving through the city on her own terms. Her arrival doesn't disrupt Monaco. It blends into it, then slowly redefines it. This shift changes the atmosphere. Luxury becomes less about display and more about agency. The focus moves away from who you're with and toward how you move. Arrival is no longer a shared performance. It's a personal statement. You can sense this evolution in everyday moments. Parking spaces designed for discretion, residences tailored for privacy, services adapting to individuals rather than groups. Monaco is responding, quietly adjusting to meet the needs of a new kind of elite presence. What's remarkable is how naturally this transition happens. There's no announcement, no cultural clash. The city absorbs the change, just as it has with every transformation before. And yet, the effect is lasting. A new standard emerges, one where independence carries as much weight as wealth. These women aren't seeking to redefine Monaco, but their presence does it anyway. By arriving alone, confidently, and repeatedly, they normalize autonomy at the highest level of luxury. Others notice. The pattern spreads. And as this presence grows, it leaves us with one final realization. Monaco is no longer just a destination for the ultra-wealthy. It's becoming a symbol of choice-driven luxury, where independence is not an exception, but a defining feature, which raises the question that lingers beyond the arrivals themselves. If this is the future of luxury in Monaco, what does it mean for the rest of the world watching from the outside? That reflection brings us to the conclusion. When you look back at these arrivals, one thing becomes clear. This story was never really about supercars. It was about choice. The choice to arrive alone. The choice to move without explanation. The choice to live independently in a world that often expects something else. Monaco provides the perfect stage for this kind of lifestyle, not because it's flashy, but because it understands restraint. Here, single women don't need to prove anything. Their presence is enough. Their arrivals speak quietly, yet they resonate long after the engine fades. What makes this movement so compelling is how effortless it feels. No statements are made, no rules are challenged openly, and yet everything shifts. Luxury becomes personal. Power becomes calm. Independence becomes visible without being loud. As more single women arrive in Monaco on their own terms, they set a new standard. One that values control over attention and privacy over performance. And that standard doesn't stay contained within the city. It travels, influencing how luxury, freedom, and success are understood around the world. If you enjoyed exploring this side of Monaco, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. What stood out to you the most about these arrivals? Because behind every quiet entrance, there's a story still unfolding, and this is only the beginning.